I'm Bella Faraci, the current executive director of the Apprenticeshop, and this is Arista Holden, who's the executive director of the Atlantic Challenge. We're both here to support Lance in his presentation tonight. Arista put together a really nice slideshow of the history of the shop from the time that Lance was even just thinking about it, sort of the inspiration for the shop up through the current day. So we're going to start with that slideshow just to give everyone a visual context for the history of this really incredible organization and Lance's visions and what he has achieved. And then Lance is going to speak and give a presentation, and we can, Arista's happy to refer back to images if there's certain images that people saw that they want more information about, or to ask Lance to elaborate on, we can certainly queue those up. So Arista, you have the floor.
This will be about 10 minutes. I did make captions for each of the slides, and out of the 50 to 75,000 images at Lance's house, he is a great documenter, collector of images of all the history, and I picked 108. So it's a very small cross section, but it gives you a little bit of the depth and the global breadth of his project and vision, and how it continues on today at the current Apprenticeshop, Rituals of the Sea, Atlantic Challenge, and other places around the world. And so we celebrate that. So thank you, Lance. And this is just a short little section of it. And I'm looking forward to sharing it. I don't know if you want any lights off or lights on. What kind of crowd is this?
Can you turn the lights off?
I think by Michael. There's a dimmer right there. Just a little. All right, I'm watching the clock though. Watching the clock. 10 minutes. Here we go. Can you see it, Lance? I'm going too fast, you tell me.
Yeah, you just went too fast that time. I'm gonna get all red.
Yeah, just do that, Mary. I'm watching your wrist. That is all. Thank you, Liz.
Well, the 6 blind men came by with their questions, and I hope that you have all examined that they zeroed in on the elephant. And the first of the blind men was Bella. She got to pull the ears. And the second blind woman was Arista. And she got the tail. Well, I was there, so I wrapped my arms around the left hind leg. And then we all went to the waterworks to try and figure out what an elephant is. The phone rang, and a voice I didn't recognize said, would I go to the library and bark? And I said, yes. But basically, because I've been getting those phone calls for over 50 years, and it seemed to me it was a good idea to spread the propaganda. So Bella came over to the house, and we screamed at each other for an hour and decided that what we really ought to do is give you our quartet. There are 4 points or bases now. They're all nonprofit 501c3s, and lest you doubt it, we are having a great deal of fun. So this isn't all sober, sad, remorseful education, but the result of the education is competence, thinking, and self-esteem. That's what we're after. It's a little hard to get those things in other forms of education. So one day, a dignified lady came in the door, asked for me, and said, Mr. Lee, do you think that traditional boat building is a folk art? And I said, well, it has been a trade for many thousands of years, and today it's 2 branches, manufacture and what I consider folk art. So that was in the late 70s, and I hope you have all studied this little schooner. She is a Tanquequilla, and the shop for about 7 years trying to build a Tanquequilla. Big boat compared to our others, too expensive. And of course, it isn't money. It's us mice that makes this run. So in a week's time, after talking to Bess Lomax Hall, we had a Tanquequilla going on the main floor. And I will back up just a little bit because I brought that model. I'm going to get a little more mileage out of it. In 1927, my grandfather gave my father and his brother $150. Go and get educated. So they raced to Nova Scotia and bought the full-size version of the model there, which is a very exact model. And so we worked on the Tancook for about 1.5 years, and one night we were all working late. It was midnight, and went home, slept, went back. We're going to launch her that afternoon. So one of the crew that was up there came to me and he said, "Are we okay?" And I said, "Yeah, you were here last night." And he said, "No, I mean, you said something made me think we're not very stable." And I said, "No, that's just not true." And he said, "Well, I drive an old van and I'm in torn jeans, but I have a trust fund and I would like to help you." And so I said, "Well, you're already helping us?" And he said, "No, I want to give you $11,000. And this was in the mid-70s. So I said, "Well, I want you to obligate me to double it." And he said, "No, I want to help you." And I said, "You don't know much about the business, but you just gave me the most perfect rationale that I can imagine." And by the end of the week, I had 22,000. And we split them into 2 revolving funds. So if we didn't have the money, we could always put out another boat or always put out another publication. It worked. And so I hope you saw the painting. If you didn't, as you go out, please. That was the first Hampton boat we built in 1973. We sailed her to Crotch Island, named after the boat, and ballasted her and sailed her to Boston. I'm going to give you just some little clips of what it was to apprentice. I went to the Tancook Whaler fully realizing that we had been building workboats, not yachts. We had been building traditional boats that had made their living and come to know coast all over the earth. And so Mark had carved a very beautiful compass on the breasthook. Have I lost many on a breasthook? It's a very key piece of wood that really holds the port and the starboard boat together. So he had carved a star. And I said, "Mark, that's not a workboat. What's a damn star for?" And he said, "Well, Lance, when we deck her, nobody will ever see it." The woman, Bess Lomas Hall, taught me more about folk than almost anything else that I can remember, but I'll recant. Because I grew up on a saltwater farm-based island, fishing, farming, and boat building. No electricity, no clinic, no library. And it was a time in which U-boats were working the Caribbean and the east coast of the Bahamas and the west or Gulf Stream. And so there was no way that a freight boat, which were sail, could come the 100 miles from Nassau and not encounter U-boats. A quick vignette. Carl was fishing off the coast of Alaska. He found out about us and he wanted in. So he got a big salmon and sent it to our community. And he later admitted that he was bribing us to get a place as an apprentice. And Carl would go in and drink coffee and read the best magazine on traditional boats, Wooden Boat. And then he would put in a full day's work, and then he would go to work and restore old boats that we had been donated. That was a good apprenticeship. Now, Arista's turn. Remember, she got the elephant's tail. So I'm going to tell you how Atlantic Challenge got started. We invited the French to bring a crew in one of those Atlantic Challenge boats. And we had a contest between the States and France. We did it in front of the Statue of Liberty, between the battery and the statue, on a wild day, and I won't go into that, but when it was over, one of our trustees had a big black schooner, quite famous. He boarded all of us on the order of 40 bodies, took us out the Connecticut coast, anchored, took us all ashore, and his mother had cooked dinner for 45 people. So then we all went skinny dipping, and the French bosun came to me, walked through the shallows, and poked a lit cigar in my mouth. And I said, I don't believe this cigar. Where did you get it? Havana. Do you know how they made it? Well, yes, they are rolled on the inside of ladies' thighs. And what age were the girls? Well, if you don't know, you are too young to smoke cigars. That was the real start of Atlantic Challenge. I'm not quite through. Now, the fact is, we moved to become a triangle. We founded Rituals of the Sea. The base is North Haven, and the boathouse belonged to Archibald Cox, if you know some dreadful parts of our history, not our history. But I begged, and Arista begged, the vice president in North Haven to come and speak of Rituals of the Sea. He couldn't come, and I think I'd better, but I'll make it awfully short. Regarding our hardware, Rituals of the Sea now owns and drives around in the Tanquequela. And the little blue booklet is published. So one of the elements of Rituals is publication, another is expedition in traditional boats, and we have 10 boats, and they're quite wonderful, traditional workboats. And now I don't know why he is not here, but I promised you a quartet. One of the products of the apprenticeship is graduate apprentices who are pretty good boat builders. They're not limited to boat builders, they're craftsmen and women. But one of them did quite an unusual job for 3 years and was taken on at the Apprenticeshop as a fellow. And he guided 3 apprentices in building that boat by studying the one behind her. And the job we gave them was no lofting, no studs. So the hardest way to build a new boat was that. We said, figure it out. And that, to us, is apprenticing. So he has now acquired a boat shop and living quarters upstairs, and he is going out after for profit. That is, he started a small business, and when we began in 1972, there were 10 small businesses run by very competent, very intelligent men. They included Virginia, Rhode Island, Cape Cod, Duck Trap, Booth Bay Harbor, Roland. They were awfully fine. And they took us in and taught us. Bill went to Bald Mountain. Pitcairn went to Shoe and Burnham. I went here in Rockland to Lee Nielsen and helped them build a Harrisaw. So I give you that Will Swenson is taking that around again. It's going way out on a limb to, in our climate, go for traditional boats, workboat types in an old boat shop. And I have a lot of admiration for that man. I thought he was going to be here. Oh, he is. Will, stand up and tell us why you're doing this.
Hi, I'm Will.
That's probably a good start, not having to talk, but to do. Now, other things that we have done, out of the driftwood, when we finished building a house, we built a naust, which is a Norwegian boathouse, 44 feet long. And I was scared because we had a crew of timber framers guild and apprentices and high school kids from Vinyl, and we'd fished with 4 other countries. They had been over at the island and fished a great pile of driftwood. So I was afraid that we'd get caught if we built the house. So I went into Vinyl Haven on the last night and saw Josephine, and she said, well, you wouldn't want much of a setback. Boathouse, isn't it? And could you draw what you're going to do? Come back in the morning and I'll let you know. Went back, they had a meeting that night. We had no setback, and we had Vinyl Haven very pleased with us. And yesterday, Arista launched one of the gigs that you saw here, which had slept in that boathouse all winter. And we have had whale boats and Norwegian open boats and Bahamian in that naust. We like to take care to do things internationally. And a major reason is that we now have 17 nations in Atlantic Challenge, and they have had contests in England, Norway, Italy, not Indonesia yet, and Japan is now planning to build one of these boats. And we're trying to make a lot of mileage out of the reason, which is to come to know each other, understand, gain ties, and friendship. I think it is working. So I'll tell you one example. In '89, a bus drove up, and a double handful of Russians got out and asked if I would speak to them. So I hopped up in a box and spoke to them, and I looked to get a translator. And a girl in the front row says, "I speak English." So we got to be fairly good friends. And she said, "We want you to come to Leningrad and help us build an apprenticeshop and a copy of Peter the Great's boat." So I said, "Why do you wish one?" Well, market economies will not rebuild Russia. The youth of Russia will rebuild Russia. They will need three things: competence, and if they have an apprenticeship, they'll gain competence. Self-esteem, and if they become competent, they will get self-esteem. And a reverence for the traditional Russia. We gave 4 Russian kids scholarships, and they didn't bring a kopeck to this country because Russia was on its ankles. We found that out, and we have been now in a 35-year close, friendly alliance. Never in that time have we talked about politics. It didn't occur to either of us. We did many other things. And I'd like to tell you about them, but I won't. Just know that they have now built a 140-foot frigate, Peter the Great's flagship, and the Navy flagship. And Misha, one of them, is the lead, the master of the project and the main boat builder. That sort of thing goes on and on. I am going to give you one more. We built the shop for quite a lot of reasons: character and capability. Probably had the list. Now, we've had graduates in Japan, Colombia, Canada, Mexico, all over Europe. And one day the phone rang. It's Itai, an Israeli, calling me to tell me that he has been working on the border, and he has a group of Palestinians and a group of Israelis, and they want to build one of these gigs. And would I help? Well, it happens that I would. And 2 days later, Itai called me again and said, "We can't do it." Absolutely forbidden politically. Another time, they actually got Greek and Turkish kids to come here to Rockland and handle two of those boats. And politics swam into the pool yet again. I won't tell you what it was. In any case, you have been awfully patient. Thank you. The second page is much shorter, but it goes like this. Please, all of you, take all of those manifestos. I hope you'll read them. I hope you'll take many, share them with your neighbors, particularly kids from about 16 to 30, because we would very much like kids from Rockland and Knox to come and join us. So grab as many as you can carry. And I do have one other. Some of us go to the cider, I guess I can call it a bar, but I'm not sure, but it only serves 6 different ciders, and they are wonderful. Not a barkeep, the man is a landlord. So he came and sat with us, and the subject came around to, well, what do you do? And so we said, well, we work in the Apprenticeshop. And I jumped in and said, my favorite project in the Apprenticeshop is we have middle school kids come and build lap straight prams. And the man said, those are my boys. Thank you all. I'll answer any question, but it's very late. Anybody wonder? I'm going to say again that we have fun, but it's kind of hopped up fun. Study, please, the artifacts. There's a lot of tales behind them, but I'm not going to tell them tonight. Thank you all. Thank you for coming.